This video is on preparing documents or tests in Kurzweil 3000. We'll explore the different ways that you can bring material into the program. So first off, I want to show you the typical ways that you bring things into Kurzweil. You can use a flatbed scanner, which is the old traditional way of bringing material in if you did not have a digital copy of the document. A better way is to use the high-speed scanners in your teacher's lounge to scan it into PDF. Once it's in PDF, you can email it to yourself or store it on a USB, bring it into Kurzweil directly. Then we have the virtual printer. So this would be used for other documents other than PDFs. So it could be Microsoft Word, websites, or anything that you can print, you can bring into the program. So now I'll just show you right quick within Kurzweil where we go to start scanning. So here's the new user interface. This is the Kurzweil opening screen. We have the Read, Write, and Scan tab. So we're importing things and we want to click on the Scan tab. So here, if you have a flatbed scanner, you would use this scanner button to scan in the material. One other thing you'll want to note is that when you scan something in and you want color, you need to use the Scan in Color button. So you'll press that in order to scan. Do not scan using your scanner buttons on the face of your scanner. Use the Kurzweil Scan button to scan that in. I'm not going to show you scanning today, but I did want to mention where that is. And so if you need to scan something, you can scan one page at a time, and it will add those pages to the document. So right now, I'll just show you how we use virtual printer. So I have a Word document, a little quiz that I have saved on my computer. What I can do is I can minimize Kurzweil, go find that Word document that is on my desktop, and open it. So I'm opening the Word document. This is Chapter 8, Section 2 quiz, and I want to import this. So what I do is I go to File, Print, or Control P. So once I do that, I'll just do a Control P, and I'll get the printer dialog box. What you'll want to do is look under Printers and choose the KESI Virtual Printer, which is Kurzweil Education Systems Incorporated Virtual Printer, not use your classroom printer. So I'll click KESI Virtual Printer. Now, if I want this to be brought in color, if you go to Printer Properties, you can look and choose black and white or color. So I'm choosing color, choose OK, and then choose Print. So now it's importing it into Kurzweil. I can close out my Word document since it's already been sent. You'll notice that if I hover over the Kurzweil icon at the bottom or the program that's minimized, you'll see recognition page range. And so you need to confirm that page range. So I'll click OK, and it will go through recognition. So I clicked on Kurzweil icon that was minimized. Here's the test, and now it's finished. So I can click to the beginning and see the test. So the second step after you import it, you want to check to make sure that it reads in the correct order. This is called zone editing, or checking your zones. So the zone editor is located once again under the Scan tab. You'll see Zone Editor. And when I click on that, it tells me what it's going to read and when it's going to read it. So top to bottom, left to right. So this shows as reading first, Zone 1, then Zone 2, as well, 3, and that looks pretty good, unless I wanted this to read straight down the word bank. But we're fine there, so I'm going to click on the second page and see if there's any errors there. So here's Zone 1, 2, anything outside the yellow box it's not going to read, so it didn't see this. I need to add a zone or adjust that one zone down. Also here in the diagram, it missed spindle fibers. So I'll want to drag that down or add another zone. So here on this page, if I wanted to fix this, I can just click on the zone above it, right click, and it says Adjust Zone. So I could click Adjust Zone. Notice here that there is also Delete Zone, Delete All Zones, and then there's also Add Zones. There's also Properties, which is where you would go to change the reading order. So what I'll do is I'm going to click, right click, and tell it to adjust the zone so I can move the zone down to include that text below it. Okay. And then we have this zone, so I could do the same thing. Let's just pretend nothing was shown there and I needed to add a zone. So what I do to add a zone is I right click go down to add zone and tell it to add that back into the text. And there, so 4. Okay, and then here's one that I don't need, so I need to delete this. To delete this, I can either left click, right click, and click delete, or I can simply just click on it and then click the delete key on my keyboard. And now it's gone. So that's how you would zone edit. If you ever need to change the reading order, all you do is double click on the zone, it will bring up a box, and then you can renumber that. Of course, that doesn't make sense, so I'll just double click on it. Again, type 1, and then change it back. So that's your second step. So we imported it, we zone edited to read in the correct order. Our final step in preparing this document, and when I click Zone Editor, that's what you do to turn it off. You, when I clicked on it, it says, do you want to save your zone edit changes? You click yes, and then do you wish to re-recognize the page? You click yes. You can simply click Enter, Enter, and that will quickly get those messages out of the screen. So the final step in preparing this document is to check the underlying text. So the check mark over here, if I hover over it, says Edit Underlying Text. When I click on that, it gives me the image above and the words below so that I can quickly go through and see if there's any edits. Recognition within Kurzweil is really pretty good, but say there's some points like in the word bank that it doesn't pause long enough for the student. Let's just listen to it right quick.
Chapter 8, Section 2, Quiz Cell Growth and Reproduction.
Okay.
Name, date. Word bank, telophase, metaphase, centrioles, prophase, mitosis, anaphase,
and that might be fine that it's not pausing very much, but we can add pause marks, and we can also change if there's something that's mispronounced. So I'm going to click on Edit Text after we've listened to that, and I have the word bank. So what I can do down here at the bottom in the text boxes below is I could add punctuation. So I could add commas or periods to make it pause a little longer. There. And so I think you get the point. As well, there might be recognition errors. I'm going to go to the second page right quick. So I'm going to click Next, and then see when I added that zone back in spindle fibers, it's kind of a little blurry, so I don't think it found it. So I can click up here and I can see what it found below. So here it is. It tried to recognize it, but it didn't do a good job. So what I can do is click on each of the little words or things that it found, and I can erase those. Usually it puts it into one word, but this did not. And then what I can do is then type spindle fibers and then punctuate. And then after I'm finished, so I've gone through each of the pages, just listen through, I can always close this out. A faster way, you click yes to save your changes. Now, with common tests, such as STAR tests or things that have multiple choice, if there's no punctuation, it's not going to pause. Or say you're in a math test and you it says X instead of times. You can quickly go edit those things without having to go into the underlying text by doing a find and replace all. So where I can do that is I can go to Edit, down to Find, and then tell it replace text. When I do that, I can say, okay, every time you come to X, I want you to say times or multiplied by. Now what you'll want to do as well is click case sensitive and match whole words. Otherwise, anytime it comes across an X in a word, it's going to replace it with times. So choose case sensitive, match whole words, and then you can say replace all. The reason I mentioned multiple choice is that in STAR, you'll have where the solutions A, B, C, D, and then F, G, H, J don't have punctuation, so it might sound like a run-on. What you can do is say we have B and I want to replace it with B, period, space. This will replace that so that it will pause after each. So I can click replace all. If there are any in there, it will put the punctuation in without me having to go in. So there's two occurrences. So I click OK. So if this is just a document that you're wanting just to provide the students with text-to-speech and you're not needing to lock any features or password protect it, you're done. So let's just pretend we're done and we want to save this to our library. So I can go to File. If you have the web license, you'll see Save to Library, and you can save it to your teacher folder. Here's Stephanie Ingham, that's me. There's my district folder, and then these are my students. You may or may not have students listed below you, but you can add those students so that you can share information back and forth between your students. So if I wasn't ready to administer this assignment, I could put it in my private folder. So I click Private. I can name this Quiz. And you can't have uppercase or spaces, so you can use all lowercase and then use the underscore to break up the words. So there's Science Quiz, and I could click Save. So if I saved it, save it into my private folder. Now you may notice that I have folders within my private folder. You can also place folders within your private or public folder to better organize your material. And to add a folder, what you would do is you just right-click over Properties, go to New Folder, and type the folder name. And that's how I did that, where I have my benchmarks, reading, science, and STAR practice. So I'm just going to put this in my benchmark folder, click Save, and now I'm finished. Now, a step further, if this is a test and I want to lock features, I'm going to show you how to do that. So first I need to go to Tools and go down to Lock Features. So you click on this. It's a two-part step. So Tools and Lock Features, and this is where you can say under Reference, I don't want them to have the dictionary. I don't want them to have synonyms, and I can click Apply and OK. Now you're not finished. So even though I've locked them out of the dictionary and the synonyms, or at least appeared to have locked them out of those tools, I really haven't. I've only locked it to my personal profile of Kurzweil. So the final step of locking that into the test is to save it to the properties of the test. So you do that under File, down to Properties, and just click OK. Then it says Save Feature Locks in Document. I put a check mark in that box, and I can also password protect it. Now, something in the classic user interface that we used to have is the ability to lock the toolbar. So we could customize the toolbar and lock that toolbar into that test. We don't have that currently, but we're aiming to having that in the early part of summer, say May, release of Kurzweil. So I can click OK. Now, once you do this, you can't undo it. So you might want to save an unlocked version of your test before you do this if you ever want to turn those features back on. So I'm going to click yes that I do want it to save the lock features, and this cannot be undone. I click yes. I type the password in again that the student or teacher has to type in order to open the document, and I click OK. So what I can do is go to File, again, Save to Library, and I can save it in my teacher folder. So now that I have this locked, the last one I put in was in my private folder. But if I want the students to have access to it, I click it in the public folder, and then I can save it here. And I might want to put the word locked at the end. And I choose Save. Okay. So even though it's in the public folder, the students would need to have the password. So this might be a way for you to go ahead and store it before the test is administered and not worry about the student getting access to it before they're supposed to. So I'm going to go in and unlock my features. Right-click as if I were a student just logging in to take this test. I'm going to go to the Read tab. That's where the students would usually, when they open the test, it's going to send them to the Read tab with the tools here, including definitions, picture dictionary, and some other support. So when I open that test, you'll see that it's locked out the dictionary and those resources, and it's also password protected. So I'm in as a student. I go to File. The teacher told me to go to Open from Library, and they said to navigate to the teacher folder. So it's under Stephanie Ingham, under Public, under Benchmarks, and here's my time travel or science quiz lot. So I'll click on that, choose OK or Open, and it's asking me for the password, so the teacher comes over, types in the password, click OK, and it also warns the student that there's embedded lock features that have been applied. And so now the student can take the test. Dictionary is grayed out, picture support, and the student can take the test. So if I click Read.
Chapter 8, Section 2, Quiz Cell Growth and Reproduction.
Okay, and I can click to go on. Now, there is a feature that students can use to fill in the blanks. That is done by using this A text. So I'll click on A text, click on the blank, and I could type my name. Now, there's a faster way to do that as well. So right here in the word bank, the second way to fill in the blanks is that you can double-click on a word and drag it and drop it into the blank. Okay, you can also use the fill in the blanks feature. So fill in the blanks will put an empty text note at every blank that it comes across. So if I go to Tools, down to Fill in the Blanks, there's the text note, so the student can just simply click on it, type the material, and then it will read it out loud after they've typed it. So that concludes my short video on preparing a test or a document. Stay tuned. We'll have additional videos showing more in-depth features within Kurzweil and creating tests and worksheets. We will have one on Texas's STAR test showing you the different accommodations of what's similar in Kurzweil as is in the STAR text-to-speech test. So stay tuned and feel free to call us. You can reach us at 512-454-8672. We are your representatives for Texas and the surrounding states. Thanks for joining.